Tiff and Rach here.
We are the Nobodies. This is our podcast.
Just coming at you for a quick fiver right now because I wanted to quick touch in on a thing that happened to me yesterday. I have been dealing with, I should say part of my pattern is compression, and that includes my face. And so when Tiff did some work on my face during session 8 in the cranial session, there's a lot of movement on my left side of my face and not so much on my right, which was a little bit interesting. But my right did expand, and I really didn't have a whole lot of, I guess would say like adverse reactions to that work, except for it felt spacious. I looked a little bit weird, but yesterday, there was a culmination of some things that came together. I woke up with a headache, which is not something I'm used to having. And when I went to school, it was ebbing and flowing. I had gone to the gym. I'd done some things. I had a little caffeine because sometimes that will, make it go away. If something is happening with your brain like that, caffeine can help. So I did that, hydrated, and by the time our Tom's model session ended, I was in not a good place. The light in the room was absolutely overwhelming. I had to put my hood on that I thankfully had.
She turned druid.
I went druid. And I couldn't keep my eyes open, and I was having nausea, but not from my like gastrointestinal tract, but like at my throat. It was like at the base of my throat. I could feel this tightening, and it was god awful. I ended up actually taking an ibuprofen because I was in a way that I was contemplating the fact that I had to do a session yesterday afternoon. Tiff and I had our exchange of our 10th session, and I really wanted to be there and present for it. So I went through it. I ended up feeling a lot of pressure in my head, and I should go back that in the morning on our way to school, my face on my left side was hot. Mm-hmm. Palpably hot. I asked Tiff to feel it, and the side of my head remained hot for the rest of the day, even though after lunch I laid in the sun in the park, still with my face down and covered, and I didn't nap, but I laid and took some nice deep breaths and sat with it. And it was really a time that I reflected on the fact that when I was a child, around the age of 10, kind of prepubescent, I started to get tension. They weren't tension headaches. They thought they were, but they were cluster headaches, which I don't know if anybody's ever experienced them. They move from place to place to place, and they are very wave-oriented nauseation that happens like that. And it took me back to that. And the heat coming from my head. I don't know if it had something to do with that. I didn't have kind of a traumatic story to follow up how I felt, but there was something changing and moving, and I needed to be with it yesterday. Even in spite of the fact that I took something for it, I was able to rally back, and my energy really bounced back, truthfully, by the afternoon. I did receive first, and my session was really lovely, but I will tell you, not everything is just, hunky-dory as we go through this process. I woke up this morning, I had a real hard sleep, and my right neck and shoulder felt really restricted. And so this morning at the gym was a presence day for me.
Oh, yeah.
I went through all the motions, and it did feel lovely to be there. But to speak to the fact that not everything is just one level up each time, we are going back and forth and back and forth.
Yep. And it's this sort of cadence of ebb and flow and being with the experience that creates the capacity for deeper, more sustainable change when you're not trying to fight it or fix it or change it, but just notice and move with and through it. It's a pretty lovely experience, even though it can be challenging at times, like Rach was sharing. We also would like to introduce you to a new corner right quick. This is the We Are Bodyworkers and We Watch You Move at the Gym corner.
Yes.
This morning we were noticing a fellow gym goer who is quite built and very strong, but very limited in upper body mobility. And I just had this feeling and this calling of we need to introduce him to what we're doing, and we need to introduce him to a little freedom. So after the workout today, I went over to him kind of cautiously and without even introducing myself, really, was like, "Can I touch your lat?" And Rach came over, and together we pinned his lats and helped him feel this freedom that he was like palpably looking for this entire workout session. And we got to share with him about ATSI and refer him to a local practitioner. And Rach really did a great job of getting him curious about the work with the way that she mentioned some byproducts of growth and different aspects of the work. And it was really special and kind of a segue into how we're going to be talking to people and our clients about what it is that we do. So we got a really good chance to practice that this morning.
It was great, speaking to people and seeing maybe where, like, if you can kind of see, and this is not psychologizing, but seeing into people and seeing where those limitations are. Sometimes they're aware of them and sometimes they're not. He was like, when I shared with him the way that he's held in his uppers, it creates narrowness in his shoulders. They don't hang off of his rib cage in the way that you would love to see freedom in his movement. And so by opening those areas, it would create width, and he would have wider shoulders. And sometimes that speaks to people who've longed for that, who are looking for a certain shape. And so and
that can be the gateway into this deeper experience, because what we also shared with him is that he will lead himself to injury with how his body is held right now. And he's built some really nice muscle on top of some patterns that aren't serving him. And it was fun to watch his curiosity sparkle.
He was really receptive and very much. And, these are also the ways we create community as we travel.
Yep.
We'll chat with you later. Thanks for listening. Your attention is everything.
Bye.